The world of crime has upgraded along with the times and the technology that it's brought with it. Criminals can now siphon off your life savings without even crossing paths, and all thanks to the internet. But along with criminals, law enforcement has also got better tools to solve cases or deter crimes from happening. But one of these tools is accessible to all of us. We're talking about Google Earth, and here are 10 times Google Earth helps solve mysterious crimes. Let's dive in. Before we get started, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Number 9. Who abandoned their boat? Here's a case which seems harmless at first look, but is very much illegal. Dumping of unwanted possessions is a criminal offence. A Santa Rosa County resident decided that he no longer had any use for his 18-foot long and 1-ton boat and decided to just dump it in a subdivision which was still under construction. In order to not trace it back to him, he removes all visible markers of the boat and flees the scene. But Google Earth comes to the rescue once again. Upon discovering the abandoned possession, local police deputy Gregory Barnes decided to search Google Earth and possibly track down where the boat used to be kept. Sure enough, the deputy tracked down the location, which belonged to 57-year-old Dwight Everett Foster, who was charged with a felony for littering more than 500 pounds of waste. Barnes rang up Foster and informed him about the crime he had committed, and Foster sent his son in his stead to remove the boat and dump it in a landfill for a mere $18. If only Mr. Foster had the foresight to just pay that $18 from the beginning, he could have avoided the hefty $5,000 fine and a jail sentence of up to 5 years. I hope he learned his lesson now. Number 8. Tax evasion. Turns out Google Earth has far more advantages for law enforcement agencies than tracking down your regular robbery or theft. It can even help in finding people who try to evade taxes. So if you've been stashing away stacks of money under your mattress, the IRS might just come knocking on your door, all thanks to just using Google Earth. This is a story of a local businessman from the ski resort town of Cortina d'Ampezzo in Italy, who's managed to evade taxes of around $8 million. Back in 2002, the guy reported that he had sold a villa for far less than its actual price, but the government was suspicious of his claims and decided to investigate a little more. Using the help of Google Earth, they managed to see the property from top, which also contained a phallus-shaped swimming pool, making the property a lot easier to find. The Guardia di Finanza, or the finance police in Italy, found out that this property was located next to other villas which were worth many times more than the declared value of the property in question. The businessman had lied and was caught and charged for tax evasion. You can run from the law, but not from Google Earth. Number 7. Murder beyond borders. If you love cases with impressive detective work, then this one might be for you. Back in 2018, a disturbing video circulated the web which showed 2 women blindfolded by soldiers and later brutally shot dead. The soldiers claimed that the woman belonged to the jihadist group called Boko Haram. The video caused an uproar in the online community and wanted to bring justice to the women who were murdered. BBC Africa journalists took on the task of investigating the case after Amnesty International experts identified the area where the incident took place as Cameroon's conflict-ridden Mayo-Sanaga region. The journalists noted the mountains in the background and used Google Earth and satellite images to narrow down the location and eventually confirmed it was a dirt road outside Zelavet in northern Cameroon. Turns out this region was a hot zone and a battleground between Cameroonian soldiers and Boko Haram. Apart from finding out the precise location, the journalists also deciphered the time when these murders took place by noticing the sun's direction and the dirt road's conditions. Apparently it took place during a 2-week period during the country's dry season. Putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, BBC journalists finally managed to confirm who the perpetrators were and even found one of the soldiers responsible on Facebook, which linked them to Cameroonian soldiers. The Cameroonian government initially denied any involvement of the soldiers, but eventually had to change their stance over mounting evidence. The government announced that they've disarmed and imprisoned the soldiers responsible, and they're under investigation. These journalists truly deserve an award for their contributions. Number 6. Bike thieves. Losing your bike is painful, especially if it's your sole means of getting around places. The Netherlands is all about biking and has an estimated 23 million bicycles, overtaking its population of 17 million residents. But despite being a bike-friendly nation, bike thefts are fairly common here. In this case, a 14-year-old boy lost his bike in September 2008 when 2 assailants knocked him off his ride and stole the bicycle as well as his wallet and cell phone. The boy reported the crime to the police, but without much leads to follow, they couldn't really help him. Then, 6 months later, the teen was going through Google Street View when he discovered an image of him being chased by the robbers on camera. This was a giant stroke of luck, and he decided to take this newfound evidence to the police, and now they finally have something to go on. Law enforcement approached Google to release an unblurred image of the robbers, and finally were able to make an arrest of the twin brothers who were behind the robbery. The boy was truly lucky to find them. Number 5. Hidden marijuana farm. It's no surprise that Google Earth can see pretty much everything which is on this planet and out in the open. Back in 2008, the Swiss police busted an illegal marijuana farm operation in the small town of Rapperswil thanks to Google Earth. Thanks to the aerial view, police were able to find the illegal farm belonging to 2 farmers involved in the whole operation. Once they had the address, they made the arrest and seized 1.1 tons of marijuana, along with cash and valuables worth 6 figures. After the bust, the farms were ploughed over, but can still be seen on Google Earth since the image was taken before the farm was destroyed. In total, there were 16 suspects behind the operation who were all eventually incarcerated. It's believed that as much as 6.4 tons of marijuana was sold by them between 2004 and 2008. A similar case was solved in Oregon when local licensed marijuana farmer Curtis Croft was also growing thrice the marijuana plants than what he was allowed. He was eventually caught through aerial images of his site through Google Earth. You can't fool the system no matter how sly you might be. Number 4. Thieves in broad daylight. This case happened in 2011 in a neighborhood in Oklahoma City. 2 armed men made their way into a home and burglarized it in the middle of the day while the owner was outside. The homeowner eventually got back and found her entire home completely ransacked. But it didn't end there. Turns out the burglars were still home and they held her at gunpoint. She was terrorized and threatened for more than an hour. She was eventually let go and the robbers walked away from the scene. Police did find several clues at the scene, but nothing in particular that could help identify the perpetrators. The case eventually turned cold, but 3 years later a friend of the homeowner was going through Google Maps and discovered that Google Street View had captured 2 men standing outside her home on the same month as the burglary. The faces were blurred, but the homeowner immediately recognized them by what they were wearing. The image was then shared with the local authorities. They've since circulated this crucial piece of evidence online and asked the public to come forward with any information regarding the people in question. Hopefully, someone will have some answers for the police soon. Number 3. Who stole the RV? This incident transpired hand in hand while a Google Street View car was driving by the scene of a crime in progress. Back in mid-2009, an RV was stolen from a family in South Derbyshire in England. With no leads after the incident, the family had no hopes of finding their RV again. A few months later, one of the family members was going through Google Maps who finally discovered the Street View image. In it, there was a man standing next to an SUV, which the family suspect was used by the perpetrator to tow their RV away. They informed the Derbyshire police about their find, but unfortunately, the police couldn't track down the person in question because the SUV's license plate was blurred out. Upon contacting Google, it was told that the original unblurred images are only stored for a year before they're permanently removed, with the blurry ones uploaded in their place. As of now, the case remains unsolved, but the images are still available online in case someone has more information about the burglar. Number 2. Cold case of David Lee Niles. Back on October 11, 2006 in Byron Township, Michigan, a 72-year-old David Lee Niles went missing out of nowhere. He was on his way back from a bar but never made it back home. The case ran cold for years until late 2015 when a maintenance worker saw something strange. He was about half a mile from where Niles was reported missing. While using a lift to install Christmas lights outside a funeral home, he discovered a car in a neighboring pond. Turns out the vehicle belonged to Niles. While the vehicle was hiding in plain sight, clearly visible on Google Maps, the Kent County Sheriff's Department dispatched a dive team to the pond, and they confirmed that the license plates did in fact belong to Mr. Niles. They finally pulled the vehicle out of the water and found Niles' skeletal remains along with his wallet. Though the case was solved only after 9 years, it's still surprising that the evidence was in plain sight all this while. Number 1. 22-year-old cold case. Starting off with a missing person case, this one happened all the way back in November of 1997. It was an ordinary night when Florida resident William Earl Moult was returning home from a nightclub in Palm Beach County. On the way home, he called up his girlfriend to say that he was arriving soon, but that was the last time she spoke to Moult. He never made it back home. His family reported him missing the very next day, and law enforcement had no clue on what had happened. They weren't able to find any suspicious circumstances behind this disappearance either. With no trail to follow, the case turned cold and remained unsolved for the next 22 years. Things changed when someone from Malt's area was browsing their old neighborhood via Google Earth and to their surprise found a car in a pond. They shared the screenshots of this finding with a friend who happened to live right next to the pond and asked him to check it out. The man stepped out of his home and to his backyard but couldn't see any car from there. He then decided to ask his neighbor who had a drone and had it fly over the pond in search of the mystery car. Sure enough, they found one lying beneath the murky water. They reported the findings to the police and finally the vehicle was towed out of the pond. In it, they found the remains of a human and a large gold ring which was confirmed to belong to Mr. Malt. A 22-year-old cold case suddenly found the light of day thanks to this random coincidence of an old neighbor looking through Google Earth. There you have it. 10 times Google Earth helps solve mysterious crimes. Any particular case which intrigued you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, be sure to smash the like button, share and subscribe for more. See you later.